The universe exists. You exist. But have you ever stopped to ask why? Or better yet, who or what might be behind it all? For thousands of years, some of history's sharpest minds have wrestled with this very question. Is God real? Or is belief just our way of coping with the abyss? From logical proofs to moral arguments, the debate has shaped philosophy, science, and even how we live our lives. So, let's dive into one of the biggest questions of all time, because if we don't, who knows? Maybe God will get tired of waiting and just drop a memo. Humanity has been debating God's existence for ages, across cultures, civilizations, and dimly lit college dorm rooms at 2 a.m. Philosophers, theologians, and skeptics have all taken their shot at figuring out whether there's a divine being watching over us, or if we're just screaming into the void. Let's start with the arguments for God's existence. First up, the cosmological argument. It basically says that everything in the universe has a cause, and since we can't have an infinite chain of causes, because, logic, there must be an uncaused cause that started it all, aka God. Sounds solid, right? Well, unless you're the type to ask, but what caused God? Next, the teleological argument, also known as the watchmaker argument. Imagine you're walking through a field and find a watch. You wouldn't assume it just poofed into existence, right? Someone had to design it. It suggests that because we can conceive of a perfect being, also known as God, he must exist, because a God that exists is greater than a God that doesn't. Confused? You're not alone. Even some philosophers have scratched their heads at this one, wondering if they just got tricked into believing in God through fancy wordplay. And of course, we have the moral argument. This one says that if objective moral values exist, like murder always being wrong, then there must be a higher moral lawgiver. Without God, morality would just be human opinion, like arguing whether pineapple belongs on pizza. But critics say morality can be explained without divine intervention, pointing to evolution, social contracts, or the fact that most people just really don't like getting stabbed. The biggest one? The problem of evil. If God is all-powerful, all-knowing, and all-good, why is the world such a mess? Why do bad things happen to good people? And why do we keep getting new Fast and Furious movies? Some defend God with the free will defense, saying that evil exists because humans have free will. Without the ability to choose evil, there'd be no real morality. Others argue that suffering helps us grow, like some cosmic gym membership for the soul. But then there's the pesky issue of gratuitous suffering, tragedies that seem to serve no purpose. That's where faith starts to wobble. Then there's divine hiddenness. If God wants us to believe in him, why doesn't he make himself more obvious? Why not skywrite, "I am real, sincerely God across the sky"? Some say he wants faith to be a choice. Others argue that maybe, just maybe, he's not there at all. And let's not forget the paradox of omnipotence. Can God create a rock so heavy that he can't lift it? If yes, he's not omnipotent. If no, he's also not omnipotent. Either way, philosophers love this one because it turns God's power into an unsolvable riddle. Which brings us to the faith versus reason debate. Should belief in God be based on evidence, or is faith something beyond logic? Thinkers like Aquinas tried to blend the two, arguing that reason can support faith, but faith ultimately goes beyond human understanding. Others, like Kierkegaard, were all about the leap of faith, believing despite the lack of evidence, like trusting a roller coaster that looks just a little too rusty. On the flip side, skeptics like Bertrand Russell and Richard Dawkins argue that faith without evidence is just wishful thinking. And so, the debate rages on. But if God does exist, what is he like? Traditional theism describes him as omniscient, knows everything, omnipotent, can do anything, omnipresent, everywhere, and omnibenevolent, all good. But these ideas come with problems. If God knows the future, do we really have free will? If he's all-powerful, can he break logic itself? And if he's all good, why does he allow suffering? Some alternative views challenge the traditional concept of God, like process theology, which suggests God isn't all-powerful, but evolves with the universe, or pantheism, which equates God with the universe itself. At the end of the day, the philosophy of religion isn't about easy answers. It's about the questions. Whether you believe in God, doubt him, or haven't made up your mind, these debates are some of the most fascinating and frustrating in human history. Because ultimately, the search for God is really a search for meaning, what we believe, why we believe it, and how it shapes the way we live. So what do you think? Is there a God, or are we just a cosmic accident? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones, and I'll catch you soon in another video.